warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You're listening to IKIM, Inspirasi Inforia Islami, with me, Mazina Ismail, once again in this program, Light of Life, and Alhamdulillah every Saturday at 5:15 p.m. And we're back with Azra Banu. Assalamualaikum, Sister Azra.
Welcome, Salamaz. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for joining us once again on
My
our
pleasure.
fourth episode. Time flies.
Yes, it does indeed.
Alhamdulillah, looking good there. So, inshallah, this week we'll be discussing on our next topic, or actually our final topic, sadly to say, empowering women through knowledge. And we have had a discussion about this topic, and it's important to share our discussion with our listeners on education, which we all know plays a very significant role in everyone's life. And it's actually a human right and an essential tool for achieving a quality of life. So, inshallah, firstly, we would like to know, what does education mean to you, Azra?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, everybody. And thank you, Maz, for having me once again and final show. And I hope over the weeks we've managed to discuss some interesting topics. Education, what's education? And its role in human empowerment. Maybe let's take a quick look at what is education, right?
Sure.
We tend to think of education in a very narrow way. It's going to school, finishing school, getting a degree, and going further with it, right? We tend to look at education from that perspective, but education is more than that. Yes, the formal aspect of education is important, going to school and stuff, yes, but we've also got the informal side of education, right? Things that we learn from people around us, things around us, experiences that we go through. And we must not trivialize this other aspect of education, the informal education. So how does it empower? What has it got to do with human empowerment? When we approach education through a more holistic, way, where we have a holistic sense of education, we tend to be more aware of not just ourselves, but of everything and everyone that goes and everything that goes around us and everyone, right? And I think that in itself is a huge step towards empowerment, just being aware of things around us. So I would say education goes beyond schools, beyond school. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of that, how do you see the role of education in general human empowerment, not just women?
Well, education, I mean, if you ask me, it gives people a sense of purpose, right? Education gives people a sense of direction and a sense of purpose. And imagine now we've been in lockdown, since March last year. And one of the biggest impact is on education, our children, right? Our children's education. And even when they're home, getting educated through online classes, right? It's heavily compromised, right? Heavily compromised. And we are seeing a whole lot of children who are lethargic, who are suffering from fatigue, right? Who are bringing
demotivated.
Yes, that's right. My own students are talking about mental health, right? And these are teenagers, okay? So we can see what the lack of education has done in just a year and a half. In just a year and a half. So imagine, right, a child not having education for most of his life, all right? An adult not having education for most of his life. We're going to get people who are, other than suffering from mental issues, right? We're going to get people low in confidence, low in self-esteem, all right? Do not feel they have a place. They're not empowered. They don't understand their strengths, right? So the role of education in human empowerment cannot be understated. It plays such a huge role, such a huge role.
Right. Thank you very much. Now, going back to women, we all know and aware that women have been given a prominent place in the family set up by our heritage and our culture. how do you see women education benefiting their children, and their quality of life uh, in general? Yeah.
um Again, right, I don't like to stick to the traditional or
Mm-hmm.
stereotypical definition of education. We have so many, we can I'm sure we can look at so many examples of women who are highly educated yet are not really good members of the society, are not contributing, for example, or are just not aware of their positions in society. They're quite happy to just be working and earning an income, right? So we need to look at education in a more holistic sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when a woman is holistically educated and has that perspective as well, she looks at education as more than just going to school and getting qualifications. This will then translate to her children,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This will
Mm-hmm.
She will see the value in education in more ways than one. She's not just going to push her kids to get good grades. All
Yeah.
right, she's just
Yeah.
not going to say, good grades and nothing else matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's
Yeah.
going to see that the child needs more than just good grades. All right,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
going to look into his character building. She's
Mm-hmm.
going to look into other activities.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember when my children were growing up, I sent them, all of them had to attend public speaking classes,
Okay.
creative writing, what was the other one? Public speaking, creative writing, speech and drama, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, school was giving them all that,
Mm-hmm.
maths, science, and everything else, right? And I
Yeah.
wanted to enhance other
Mm-hmm.
abilities, right? And today, alhamdulillah, right, I can see the effect of me having sent them for those classes for years and years. They never went for maths tuition or science tuition, right? They went
Mm-hmm.
for these other classes. Swimming, I
Yeah.
sent them for swimming because it really gives
Yeah.
you good posture,
Mm-hmm.
right? And parents these days send their children for martial arts. Wonderful. I think that's really good. Martial arts really increases a child's confidence in himself, right?
That's
So
right.
a woman who sees education from a holistic
Mm-hmm.
perspective,
Mm-hmm.
okay, is going to benefit her children because her children are going to be educated holistically. And it's not
Yeah.
just going to be about getting grades, right? Getting
Right.
top grades. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just like a quote from Mahatma Gandhi: "If you educate a man, you educate an individual. If you educate a woman, you educate a family from a mother's perspective," as you said just now. Okay, now let's just go into social empowerment. How do you see the impact of women's education, or we can say love of seeking knowledge, would improve their social empowerment?
Yeah. Yeah, seeking knowledge, right? I mean, you look at education and it is a need for knowledge, right.
Yeah.
If you approach education as always seeking knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
always wanting to learn, you are going to be someone who is aware of things around you
Mm-hmm.
and happenings around you. You're not just going to be in your little bubble, right?
Yeah.
You will want to know what's happening in Afghanistan right
Yes.
now, right? You're
True.
not just going to be reading what's happening through the papers. You're going to
Mm.
want to seek for information
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
understand the need for knowledge. You understand the importance of knowing, right?
Mm.
This is social empowerment. This is social empowerment. I work among refugees here in Malaysia, right? And
Yeah.
I see how girls who are educated and
Mm-hmm.
who actively pursue education, right,
Mm-hmm.
end up becoming aware of so many other issues, not just about refugees, but many other issues, and becoming activists themselves and becoming involved in causes themselves, right?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
in Syria many years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
was in Syria many, many years ago, and for about 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
where I interacted with a group of refugees from the region, right? And unfortunately, this group of refugees didn't have access to schools, didn't have access to
Yeah.
education. So the
Mm-hmm.
girls weren't educated, and they just had one singular objective, right? To talk to the men in our group and to basically find themselves a husband and get out of the miserable life that they were in. I don't blame them. I
Mm.
don't blame them, right? That was how they saw their ticket to
Yeah.
freedom, ticket to get out of their misery. Now you
Yeah.
compare that to a place like Gaza. Alhamdulillah, I've been there twice and I have so many friends, right, from
Yeah.
Gaza.
Hmm.
And the way they pursue education in
Yeah.
Gaza is amazing, right? The
That's right.
women, the men, they're all so highly educated, not because of anything, but they see the value of education
That's right.
and how they can liberate not just as individuals, but their nation itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we see how education empowers people at different levels, socially, politically, right,
Mm-hmm.
culturally. Okay, it is an empowerment tool. Education, it is.
Right. That's right. So now, okay, going back to to reality, I think it is something that is happening here as well. Does increasing women educational level discourage men from taking responsibilities at home as a husband or father, such as financial responsibility, Azra? Because I believe we are already experiencing in many homes these days. What do you think of that?
That is so sad, right? I mean, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be. I mean, we have many women in our midst who are high income earners,
Mm,
many, right?
yeah.
And we should be celebrating that. The husbands should be celebrating that, right? A marriage isn't about who can give more.
Yeah.
Marriage is about making things work, right? it's
Yeah.
it's a question of compatibility, not about who earns more and who should be providing more. I mean, a husband shouldn't be saying or thinking, all right, since you're earning so much now, you can also contribute to the household income. He shouldn't be doing that. But then on the other hand, the
Mm-hmm.
woman shouldn't also think that I don't need to, right? This money is mine. It's I mean, what are we in? We're not bargaining in a marriage, are we?
That's right.
Right?
Mm.
We're in it together to make it work, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
what works for the marriage works for the household, for the family, and everybody benefits. It is not a tug of war,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
That's
whether
right.
it's from the husband's perspective or from the wife's perspective, stop this tug of war. All right, stop
Yeah.
it. Right, just it's about making things work. It's not about who is putting in more into
Mm-hmm.
the marriage. If the husband earns more and naturally he's going to provide more, fine. If the husband's not earning as much or he's going through a bad patch and woman is able to come in and help out, why not? Look at our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
Salam.
his wife
Mm-hmm.
Khadija. Look at how much she sacrificed. She was a
Yes.
successful businesswoman.
Yeah.
And after marrying him, after he became a prophet, where did she spend that money? She spent it
Mm-hmm.
on his prophetic mission, right? When
Right.
during the years of the boycott, and they were all boycotted, they had no, I mean, she spent so much of her wealth,
Yeah.
all right, for the prophetic mission, right?
Right.
And without any complaint. That is why she holds an unbelievably special place in his heart, right?
Yes.
And we
Yes.
should look at it like that. We should look at it as stepping in when necessary and doing what is necessary and not
Mm-hmm.
fighting over it, whether it's the wife or the husband.
Yeah. Having said that, what should women understand about their roles and rights, irrespective of the level of their education achieved? Does
Yeah.
that mean that when you are, you know, educated, you can forego some responsibilities or take over some responsibilities which is not meant to be yours? What do you think of that?
If we have a healthy approach to education,
Mm-hmm.
a holistic approach to education, the more educated we are, the
Mm-hmm.
more committed we will be to our rights and responsibilities,
Mm-hmm.
right? The more afraid we will be of shirking them because we, being more educated, would be expected to be more aware and more conscious. All
Yeah.
right. it can, I mean, if it's a case where the woman's highly educated and then she thinks, all right, well, I deserve more now since I'm highly educated, then I'm sorry, that education has not benefited you the way it should, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not belittling the woman, right? And neither am I um, um, forcing any ideology on anybody, but I do believe that rights and responsibilities, as Muslims especially, have been laid out, have been clearly
That's right.
spelled out, right?
That's right.
And the more educated we are, the more we should understand them
Mm.
and carry them out. We're not perfect, right? There is this thing in us called ego, okay, that will
Yeah.
come and sometimes comes to the surface and kind of just plays tricks in your mind and tells you, look, you're so highly educated, why should you be doing the dishes,
Yeah.
right? Or why should you be minding the kids? That's, I mean, seriously, this is what your education is for. Or that's ego, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
ego. At the end of the day, it's not how well educated you are, how little education you have. Everybody's got rights and responsibilities, right?
Mm.
And if we
Right.
understood them, we will carry them out. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
we're not machines, we're not robots, we're going to make mistakes, right? But inshallah, we learn from our mistakes.
Inshallah. Okay, I'd like to ask something personal, a bit personal. You have someone who inspired you to where you are now, or decisions in your life, someone that you look up to. Being a teacher, do you see the influence of female teachers in inspiring young women to continue their education? Yeah,
Majority of teachers are females, yeah?
I
Most
think
teachers
yes,
are females, yeah?
mostly. I think it's
Yeah,
quite natural to be, for
right?
women to,
Is
yeah,
that, is that nurturing nature probably that we have, right?
right. We
And,
said it
and
in the first episode.
all right. And
Yes.
I love, to be honest with you, I love teaching. I love
Okay.
teaching, right? It's very difficult teaching online because
Mm.
really one wants to fully interact with the students when you're teaching, right? And because I'm teaching primary schoolers and lower secondary students, the
Okay.
face-to-face interaction is very important, right? Because that gives us the connection, right?
Mm.
And I think female teachers are good at connecting with their students,
I
right?
see.
They're good at
Okay.
connecting with their students. And female teachers also have the freedom of, when children are young, they will hug a female teacher much more than they'll hug a male teacher, yeah?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And I think that builds on this relationship between the teacher and the student, right? And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I do see how um, students look up to female teachers and how girls look up to female teachers, right? Because you are getting knowledge from this person, so there is that sense of respect and reverence even. The
Mm.
other thing that I've done regularly over the past years, many
Mm-hmm.
years, of course not since last year, is I would bring guests into my classrooms
Guess.
and speak to my older students, the
Okay.
upper primary and lower secondary. And I see how bringing in young women has a huge impact on the girls, right? Because they're seeing these young women working, being independent, earning their own income, buying their own house. Like once
Mm.
I brought someone who works and lives in Australia. I brought her in, and the students were asking, "How do you live on your own? What about, how do you get to work? You drive on your own? Did you buy your
Mm-hmm.
car? How did you buy your car? Did you buy your car on your own?" They had all these. It couldn't. They were so fascinated with
Yeah.
the thought of being able to make
Mm.
these decisions independently when they get older, right?
Yeah.
So huge impact, and inshallah this will the impact would drive them, right, to
Mm-hmm.
seek an education as much as they can, go as far as they can, right? And not
Mm-hmm.
just paper qualification, but being confident, being able to carry decisions, right, make decisions and carry
Mm-hmm.
them through. I think that it's a wonderful impact on youngsters. Yeah.
Right. What about teachers themselves, like female teachers? Do you have any tips or advice like you would share between you teachers? You know.
Patience, right? I would say patience, right?
Right.
and be yourself. Don't try to be like another teacher. Don't
Mhm.
try to emulate or copy someone else. Be yourself, right?
Mhm.
And understand that what you're doing today is laying the foundation to what the child will be years from now, right?
Yeah.
What you contribute may just be a small portion, or it could be a huge portion. It
Mm.
doesn't matter, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, you are a contributing component to that child's life, right? You
Mhm.
may not even live to see or get to see how much you've impacted that child, but you know that you have contributed to that child's growth. I think this is a very important reminder to all teachers, right?
Right. Mhm.
They say teaching is a noble profession. Well, so is medicine. So many
Mhm.
other professions, right?
Yeah.
Every profession is noble when you do it for the right reason,
That's right.
right? Every
Right.
profession. I mean, as a radio TV radio producer, that's a noble profession, right? When you
Alhamdulillah.
do it for the right reason. Okay, teaching
Mhm.
is just like that. Do it for the reason it is meant to be, right? And you
Yeah.
will see it will bring out the best in you. It'll bring out the best in you.
Right. Inshallah. Let's keep that in mind. But this talk show is not just meant for women. I would like to also, bring our men to listen, and because it's important that women need support to do all that we mentioned today. So, can men act in favor of women's empowerment, Azra? Okay, let's think about men, like, say, our husbands, our sons, the men in our lives, or men in general. In what way can they contribute to empowering women in their lives?
Right. Um, let's look at the cycle of a Muslim woman's
Mm,
life. When she's young, she's under the care of her parents,
that's right.
right? And then when she's married, she comes under the care of her husband, right?
That's
That's
true.
a typical
Mm,
typical way of looking at it. Very simplistic, right? Very
yeah.
simplistic. And in many cultures, I'm not saying here in Malaysia, but in many cultures,
Mm-hmm.
this being under the care of parents and then the husband after marriage becomes debilitating and restrictive. The woman isn't given space or room to grow,
Mm,
okay, to become someone of maximum value to the society she lives in, the community she's in, to the family she's rearing, okay, because she's
mm-hmm.
just not given the space to grow. She's controlled most of the time. In many cultures, I'm not saying in Malaysia,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in
Mm-hmm.
many cultures, and then maybe here in Malaysia, in certain households, right? To the men out there, whether you're a father, whether you're a husband, whether you're a brother, allow the women folk in your household to grow and the space to be the best version of themselves that they can be, right? They want an education, let them have it, right? They want to explore their potential within reason, obviously, right? Within reason, right? I mean, it's not just a blanket thing that just allow everybody to do whatever they please, right?
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
given, give them that space, give them that time to grow and to nurture into someone better. Guide them along the way. Yes, you're a father, you're meant to guide your children. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to just leave them and let them grow up without guidance. You're meant to guide them, right? But
Mm-hmm.
guide them in a way that gives them room to also grow, right? And maximize their potential. If you're a husband, again,
Yeah.
allow her, right? I mean, from the day I got married,
Mm-hmm.
husband's given me so much room to grow in, right? So much space, whether it's to do with the children, whether it's to do with whether I want to work or not, whether it's to do with my activism, right? I mean, going
Yeah.
to Gaza, leaving the family for 40
Yeah.
days, right? Traveling across Europe, driving in a convoy, right?
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
amazing. I mean,
right. And the support from my husband and
yeah.
children was vital, right? Even until today, right? Getting support from them, my husband and children, is critical in my activism. If I didn't have that support, I would not be able to do this the way I want to, right? So
Mm-hmm.
give the women folk that room and that space
Yeah.
to grow, especially here, especially mentally, right? Okay, give
Yeah.
them, and inshallah, we will see a healthier family environment, okay, that will, of course, translate into healthy environment for the children and for everyone all around.
Right. And remember, you said about, I mean, you mentioned to us about your experience with, I mean, at Gaza, if I'm not mistaken, where a man was wanted to take a photo of you just to show to his family about what a Pakistani woman can,
That's right.
achieve.
That's right. That was so endearing and so funny at the same time. I was on this convoy from London to Gaza, and along the way, of course, my comrades came from 30 different countries around the world, and a number of them from the UK. And one of them, a British Pakistani about my age, he said, "Sister, can I take your photo?" And I said, "Why?" And he said, "I just want to show
Mm-hmm.
it to my sister back home in the UK, and I want to show her what a Pakistani woman can do, and she doesn't have to just be cooking and cleaning and minding the children and have no life of her own, right?" And this is a
Mm.
brother wanting that for his sister, right?
Which is
To
great to have that awareness, though.
Exactly. That was
Mm.
remarkable, right? So I found it
Yeah.
endearing, really, truly, I found it endearing, right? And I hope
Mm-hmm.
that whoever that woman is, right, that she has found, that space for herself, right? And
Yeah.
purpose. Not that cooking, cleaning, and minding children is not good, yeah? I did that and I still do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And see
We all
that as
do that. Yeah.
and I see that as an important aspect of my life, right? But I
Mhm.
also know that there should be more, and I want more than cooking, cleaning, and minding the house. It doesn't mean that when I do more things, I don't
Yeah.
do this, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
always given us so much time and energy, right? And while we can do it, while we have that, there's
Mm-hmm.
so much that we can be doing at the same time simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you when you said, but given space, enough space to have that me time, for women to actually explore something new that they would like to venture into, something
Yeah.
new that they would just try out, perhaps
Yeah.
something that the talents that they might not know they have.
That's right. And today
Hmm.
everything's online. You want to do a course? The other day I was asking my son, look, I need to learn these two things, right? I said, I need to learn these two things. He gave me a website. He said, Mom, here you go. You can learn all this online. It can be a paid course, right?
Yeah.
Everything's online. It's made so easy for us today, right?
Hmm.
Grab this opportunity. Grab this
Right.
opportunity to just enhance our abilities, and I
Hmm.
mean, you never know what's out there, right?
Yes.
I'm in my late 50s now,
Hmm.
very close to 60, and I'm still so eager to learn many things. Sometimes I kind of
You
tell
don't
myself,
look that age. You look younger than that.
sometimes I tell myself like, oh man, I'm too old. Maybe I should just let this one go, right? And maybe sometimes I think certain things are just maybe not no longer as important. But so many women out there are the next generation in your
Yeah.
20s, in your 30s. Grab this opportunity. So easy to study these days, so easy to pick up skills these days, because it's
Yeah.
just all at the tip of your keyboard, right? It's just all
Right.
online. Yeah. Yeah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. So, perhaps in our final episode for this season, Azra, would you like to leave, you know, some advice, messages to our
um
listeners? Yeah.
Well, I just hope that these 4 episodes have brought some benefit, right, to
Hmm.
whoever listened. And I maintain again, I'm not an expert in these fields. That I speak from experience, from years and years of activism and interaction with various people in society, right? And I just pray that it brought some benefit to some, at least, and that Allah accepts from us all that we do in His service, big or small.
I mean, inshallah. It's been great talking to you, Azra, in this program, Light of Life. May Allah bless you and reward you for all the knowledge that you shared. And inshallah, pray for the best for everyone. everywhere in the world,
Yes.
inshallah. And
Amen.
until then, we hope we will come out from COVID safely and healthy. And inshallah,
Amen.
you
Amen.
would come to the studio for our next program, inshallah.
That would be lovely. That would be
Yeah,
deja vu.
inshallah. So until then, take care and
You too.
assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.